Hi, everybody. Marcy Bruner, health coach, and I would like to introduce to you a friend of mine, Jessica, who is an RN coach. And today we're just going to be talking to her and asking her some questions about what her health journey has been. And Jessica, nice for you to join us. Thank you.
Hey, Marcy, it's my pleasure. I always enjoy spending some time chatting with you. So thank you so much for inviting me to have a talk with you today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. So tell us, like, before you found, because I know you're working with a health coach, right?
That's correct, I am.
Yeah. So before you found um, your health coach, what was life like for you?
So life felt very much like lone wolf type syndrome because I was a practicing nurse and I still am. I was growing my own coaching business. And like anybody else, I'm human. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I wear so many different hats. And when it came to my own personal health, I would do great sometimes, and sometimes I would not do so great. And it was during those times that I was maybe not doing so great that I realized, I could really use some support. I know that I'm support for a lot of other people, and I love, love, love being a coach. But I think that with anything, we're always better together. And being by myself on a health journey was not nearly as fun or as effective as it could be, because the only person I could confess my own crap to is myself. And I'm pretty good at admitting my own crap to myself. But when it comes time to admitting my own crap to other people, that's where I really needed to be held accountable. And so, prior to working with a health coach, I was just kind of all over the place with my own health. And it just depended on how busy I was that day as to whether or not I would make myself a priority. And so now I have somebody holding me accountable to making myself a priority besides just confessing to my journal.
I love that. And that's a typical mom hat, right? It's like everybody comes first except mom.
Yep.
And I know I can totally relate to that. So, you're talking about, how life is different. Like what was your health like? Were you overweight? What was going on with that?
Yeah, so I would say in general, I was pretty healthy. I could stand to lose about 40 pounds. In the few years prior to, I had been super fit, my ideal weight, going to the gym a lot. And then, life just happened. And I slowly slipped back into those patterns that were not supporting me being my healthiest. I was letting quote unquote junk type food sneak back into my diet. I was skipping the gym here and there. And, before you know it, I am 40 pounds too heavy again. And it was one of those cycles that I'd really recognized had happened more than one time in my life.
Yeah.
I'd been on a roll, doing great, super healthy, and then slowly slipped back into those old patterns of behavior. And it really clicked for me. I was like, this is the third time in my life, I would say, that I've been in a place where I stopped making my health a priority. Like, what is going on? And I just really, really realized that I needed to dig into my own habits, my own subconscious programming, my own behaviors, because I definitely fell into that category of people that would do really great. And then within 2 years, I had slipped back into old habits. And so it just really was kind of a cycle of like, I'm never sick. I've never been sick or chronically ill or any of those sort of things. I mean, of course I get like the common cold like everybody, but I definitely would not identify with being like chronically ill or anything like that. But I was definitely on a path where I could get sick if I let myself, continue on that path. And so it's just been really, really great to know now that I have some support to help keep myself on track.
Yeah. So what I hear you say is that you were kind of a yo-yoer, right? And you would go back and forth between what you felt was healthy and what you believe was leading towards a path of disease, right?
Exactly. So I wouldn't say like I would be healthy and then I would be in a place where I was not healthy, but I wasn't sick either. It was just kind of that limbo, like where,
On the
like,
fence.
yeah, I'm like, I'm doing okay. Like my blood pressure is fine. My numbers are fine. I'm a little heavy on the scale, but like I'm not sick. So it's good, right?
That's a really good point you bring up, because like, before I started my health journey, it was always like, oh, well, I know I'm sick, but I'm content with being sick. And I did that for the longest time. But there's so many people I talk to that are saying, you know what, I'm not sick yet, and I'm okay with where I am now. And I'm like, but do you really want that? And so, yeah, so I'm so happy that you were able to not just acknowledge where you were, but you knew you wanted better. You knew you wanted more, right?
Yes.
So, how was like your energy? I mean, we're working in a nursing career. Where were you energy wise?
Yeah. So my energy was sucky. Like, let me just put it real with you. It was not good. Like I would psych myself up to, really get through a shift, because at that point I was working in the ER. I was an ER nurse. And excuse me just for 1 second.
Sure.
I'm recording a live interview and right now. Yeah, so I was working in the emergency room at that time, and it was really one of those things where like I had to crawl out of bed and really psych myself up, because I knew that I was going to go into work for 12 hours and I was probably not going to get a lunch break, and maybe I was going to get to pee when I needed to. And I just knew that it was going to be one of those 12-hour shifts, because it was a level 2 trauma center. There's no getting around being busy. And that's 100% part of what attracted me to that job, because I just loved the crazy. Like I love the chaotic. But when you're not taking care of yourself, like I wasn't, I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't eating well. I wasn't fueling my body properly. And that was taking a toll, not only on my physical health, because I was just exhausted all the time. Then on my days off, I really wasn't enjoying or engaging in this beautiful life I had created, because I was so tired. And that started wearing on my emotions as well. Like I was more short-tempered. I didn't deal quite as well with the stress. I would come home and just like completely want to detach from everything, which that's not healthy. That's not a way to exist.
No, I would literally label that as just surviving.
Exactly.
It sounds like you're in survival mode, literally.
Exactly.
Even on the weekends, you were just surviving just to get through one more day, right?
Yeah. On my days off, I was thinking like, God, I got to get my energy back, because I know I'm going to go back to work. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I was living to survive another shift.
I'm sure there's a lot of nurses out there that can also relate to that.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So, how did all of this affect your self-esteem?
Some days was better than others. I definitely identify with being one of those people that has a brutal inner critic. Brutal. So, being a coach as well, I know all of the things, right? I've done a lot of studying. I've done a lot of journaling. I've done a lot of coaching, and I knew all of the things. And yet I was really struggling with my inner critic, because, even on the days when I would make an effort, like, yay, I packed myself vegetables today and I've drank enough water and, gotten my sleep, etc. I was still like, my inner critic was still like, well, yay you, but you didn't do it yesterday. And yay you, but you haven't been doing it lately. So it was very self-defeating, inner dialogue. And that's one of the things that I worked really, really hard with, is really giving my inner critic a job promotion. I had to retrain her how to better support me, because, if I talk to my 5 best friends the way that I talk to myself, then like they wouldn't be my friends. That's all there is to it. They would not be friends with me.
Right. But isn't, and I know so many right now who are watching this can relate entirely to what you just said. Did you hear what you just said? I mean,
it's brutal, isn't it?
You were abusing yourself mentally. you know?
I was. And let me tell you, that was something I was very, very gifted at. And in the process of that journey, there is one thing that I would love to share, and that's the fact that there's a topic of, it's called parallel thoughts. So it's basically like, as you're trying to retrain your inner critic, she's tearing you down at the same time. So you're consciously thinking like, I did a great job. I had all my water today. I'm getting to bed at the right time. Like, yay me. And she's going, right, but you didn't do it yesterday. And sure, but you're probably not going to do it tomorrow. So it's like that parallel thought process. And one is conscious and one is subconscious, because I've been talking to myself that way for so long,
right,
that I didn't even realize the subconscious patterning. And so it took quite a bit of effort. And sometimes I still have to remind her that she's been promoted to cheerleader and she's not allowed to criticize me anymore. I'm not going to lie.
I love that. You know, and that I think is what makes what we do to help other people so different, because we don't just focus on the physical. We focus on what's here a lot, along with, you know, the money wise. But it's just like, you know, the mental thing, we don't realize how powerful that perspective is on how literally everything we are, do, and say is controlled by our head. And whatever we tell ourselves are things that we do believe, whether we think we do or not, you know? So,
yep.
So what was the catalyst to say that you had enough and that you were ready to begin this healthy journey that you embarked on for the final time? What was that?
For the final time.
Right.
Final destination. Well, that's a great question. And for real, for me, I was like, I'm a nurse. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm an individual. And I am failing, quote unquote, failing at all of those roles right now. Like, I am not showing up the way that I want to show up in any of these roles. I'm exhausted. I have poor self-esteem because I've got 40 pounds on me that I don't need. I'm, coaching my clients from a place of like, I feel like I'm a little bit of an imposter because I'm not always posturing what I'm preaching.
Yeah.
And that can, I have very valuable skills and tools and tips and tricks. And when I'm not being authentic and I'm not living what I'm preaching, it feels very, very disconnected. And I don't want to coach from that place. I don't.
Yeah.
So I just reached a point where I was tired of surviving to survive another shift. I mean, that's the honest truth.
Sure.
I was ready to really step into all of those roles and be the woman that I want to be in all of those roles. And in order for me to do that, I need to be healthy. I need to have somebody help check my mindset when I'm not having my best day. I need to make sure that I'm fueling my body, that I'm becoming the expert in my own health. Because, as a nurse, we have a lot of knowledge. We have a lot of knowledge, not only about health, but about disease as well. And that disconnect is applying it to our own lives. And again, it just became a place of like, I'm not congruent with anything. I'm not living my authentic self because I'm not practicing what I'm preaching, and that doesn't feel good. And, I love coaching. It's the thing that I love the most. And I'm like, enough. I'm ready to step into this role and to show up as like my strong ass woman, right?
Right. Well, that's another part of Healthy Maya, is because when we challenge ourselves, and my word of the year is courage. Whenever we have enough courage to do the scary stuff and step out of our own way and what's really holding us back, and we propel forward, and that's a thing that makes a difference. Like, you were relating to how you felt kind of like a hypocrite, as far as being a nurse and then not walking the talk, right? And so it's like, what now? And what I hear you say is that you found what you were looking for by finding a health coach, right?
Yes. Yes, 100%. Because now I get to lock elbows with somebody that cares about my goals as much as I care about my clients' goals.
Isn't that
And
awesome?
it really just like, it completed that circle. It was the perfect piece of that puzzle that I was really missing, you know? I mean, at the end of the day, like, yes, I'm a coach, I'm a nurse, I'm a mom, I rock all of these things. But then who do I get to confess to at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Just because I know all the tricks also means that I know all the ways around them. And that's part of why I can be such an effective coach, because I'm like, well, tell me more about that, because that sounds
Right.
like something I was getting away with for a while.
Right. And that's what I love is because, we're not perfect. We don't know it all.
Nope.
And I often joke around that I'm a type of know-it-all queen because I love learning and I love knowing what I'm talking about to some degree. But I don't know everything. Do you know everything?
I like to pretend like I do. How's that working out for me, though? I mean, I got to be 40 pounds overweight, so obviously that
We know how to do that.
that.
But we also know how to lose it, right? And
Yes.
we know how to
Yes,
keep
yes,
it off now. So that's what I love about it, though, is because we're constantly growing. We never stop learning in what we do.
Yep.
And
Amen.
then we get to share that with other people and build up their hopes and dreams and desires and help them live it in the current reality, not in wishes far beyond. And so, how did you find your health coach, by the way?
Oh my gosh. So I was doing the coaching thing. I was talking to other nurses about coaching, and I was like, I would love to interview other nurses about their experience with burnout and what they're doing to get themselves through. Because, they always say in the coaching world that we teach what we need to learn, right? And at that time in my life, I was burned out. And not only was I navigating my own burnout, but I was like, I know I'm not the only one. There are a million other nurses out there who are feeling burned out. And so, like, how do we share each other's stories and support each other in this continuum of burnout, right? And so I connected with my coach because she was a fellow nurse who had a burnout story. And she actually got into coaching as a way of healing herself through through that burnout. And the things that she learned are really what she was able to apply to get herself through, to go from a state of being burnt out and sick. She was actually very sick, to a place where she's now thriving and wonderful and healthy. And so again, it's this health coaching piece that connects the whole circle,
Yeah.
It really is.
I see it as, someone once told me this and I laughed at them until I experienced it. It's a type of insurance policy on the health we gain as a result of our transformation. And I'm sorry for the toddler in the background, but,
No, you're fine.
but, and so, you've been sharing about the results that you've had and the transformation mentally. So let me ask you, on a financial level, how's it helped that?
I believe that physical health, mental health, and financial health are a continuous flow of energy. So if any one of those is plugged up or stopped, then the others are affected as well. Absolutely. And so, prior to getting a health coach, I was struggling to make ends meet. And now that I'm fully in the world of coaching, not only, being supported by a coach, but getting to support others in coaching, that financial stress is becoming less and less and less. And, I just can't, it's 100% an energy thing. And when the mind and the body are not healthy, the finances follow suit. And that happens the other way around as well. And so really there's so many benefits to being healthy physically and mentally, but the fact that your finances will follow suit is probably one of the biggest ones, because we all know that financial stress is, one of the number one things that most people face in this country. And, when we can solve all three of those problems just with adding that health coaching piece, what's there to lose? You have nothing to lose.
Right. We have everything to gain, though.
Yeah.
And so How long do you get to have a health coach for?
Oh my gosh. So that's my favorite part of all of this is the fact that not only do I get to be a coach for my clients for the rest of our lives, but I get to have a health coach for the rest of my life. That is the level of commitment that the people that I coach with give 100% for the rest of my life, meaning that I get to be dedicated to creating a healthy lifestyle now, next year, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, right? Because I guarantee you that life is really good right now, but life is going to happen. It's going to throw curveballs my way, and it's going to throw something at me that I've never experienced before, and I'm not sure how to handle. And guess what? I've got my coach.
Yeah.
She's there for me. She's got my back.
Yeah. And that's been my favorite part is like, it doesn't matter what happens in my life, whether I think whether it be mentally or physically or whatever it is, I can actually go up to my coach and I was like, oh my goodness, I had this happen today. And I honestly don't know how I'm going to deal with it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, really the interesting part of this journey for me, being so independent all the time, is I have really, really realized that my coach can only be as effective as I let her be. Because if I don't let her in, then she can't help me. And it's the same lesson that I share with my clients is I can only be as effective as you let me. If you don't let me in and don't share with me, I can't help you.
Right. Yeah. You know, and I know I personally had underestimated the power that was in the coach. And it's not, you know, this lifestyle that we talk about, it's not a diet, right? Would you agree with that? It's not a diet.
No, ain't nobody dieting over here.
And I don't have to diet. Diet has the word die in it. I'm definitely not dying. But so that's the one thing that I've loved too is, you know, the coaching is my favorite. That has hands down favorite part, best friend ever, right? But the other aspect of it is because they teach us a whole completely new concept, which is actually the original concept, which is healthy lifestyle. And it's that transformational power that's lifelong that leads to our lifelong health, not just a short-term weight loss. Yeah. And like you mentioned earlier, you know, about that study has showed about 80-something% of people who go on a diet go on to gain it all back or more within 2 years. And I know I was one, you know, and
Present.
You know, I actually gained more back than what I lost. So it was a lose-lose for me.
Right.
Spend money and get worse health. That was horrible, you know.
Right.
So, you know, if people are out there watching this, they're like, oh man, I want what they've got. What do I do? What would be the advice to those people?
So I would say two things. Number one, make yourself a priority because you are important. You are worth it. And you literally cannot afford to not take care of yourself because it's going to cost you in healthcare bills later in life. And I can guarantee that because I've been a nurse for so long and I've seen firsthand in the hospital what that leads to. The choice of not taking care of yourself leads to disease. Yeah. There's no way around it. It's a fact. And that is very, very, very expensive financially, as well as mentally and emotionally and physically. So give yourself permission to make yourself a priority. And the second thing that I would say is reach out to Marcy. She is an incredible coach with an incredible story. And I know that she is 100% capable of supporting you for a lifetime for making these changes for yourself. And now more than ever, it's extra important to be focused on your health because we are actually at a tipping point in the human race where our generation may not live as long as the generation before us because of our lifestyles. And that is 100% the truth. And that gives me goosebumps. That's not the way it should be with all the technology that we have. You would think that we would be making a bigger impact, but really the biggest impact that you can make for your health is to take charge now. Make those changes for yourself, because you are worth it and you are important.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jessica. I really do appreciate you sharing with us today, and I'm so excited to just hear from others who have been inspired by this today. So thank you.
Marcy, thank you. I appreciate you having me on. And to all of you out there, let me just send you wishes. Like, live a healthy life, be amazing, because you are amazing. Okay?
Amen. Amen.
Here, you guys.
So guys, if you want to know more about what it is that we're doing, go ahead and feel free to reach out to me, or, let me know what it is that you're looking for, and let me share how I can help you live your dreams. Because let me tell you, Jessica, you and I both can relate to this. We now get to live our dreams because of making one simple choice. All right. That's all. You guys have a great day.